Hello friends, Jennifer Pearson here, Thistle Gypsy. Having resorted back into suits and majors, the Tarot of Transformation. And I've kind of gone through them. I guess I haven't I have gone through them, but I'm not going to say that my resorting is something I would stick with, which is true when I do this anyway, okay? But I thought I had them sorted according to suit, like what I see as a beginning, what I see as a story through the suit and the majors. I did that at one point last night, and then when I came back, it was quite late, and so I decided to abandon the project, but it was quite late, and I came back to the table with them all sitting out like this, and I started to go through one of the suits, and I thought, no, I don't even know what I was thinking here. So here we are the next morning. I did resort them last night. I just didn't make a video of it because I wasn't. It's like, what was I doing? I think I was trying to stick too much to what I showed in my last video. Keeping all the images with only one person separate from the images with more than one person, separate from the pool images, etc. Within a given suit or the majors. And so I pretty much, when I came back, I abandoned that. I just wanted to kind of have some form of progression through the suit that made some sense to me. And so I did that last night, but now I'm coming back and I don't know whether or not they will still make sense to me. So we'll see if I can make some sense out of it. I'm sure it won't be 100% because, I'm not following. I do have the Fool as the first card in the majors, and I have the Ace of Discs as the first card in the Discs or Pentacles. Otherwise, I'm doing some departures, lots of departures from how they were originally assigned, which doesn't bother me. And whenever I do that, I'm not saying that the deck creator somehow had it wrong. I'm just trying to make the deck work for me with the images that are here and kind of the vibes that I'm getting from them and how to make sense of them myself. And the truth of the matter is, I have started looking at this, the guidebook for this again. But I've become, well, partly I need new glasses, and I should have new glasses here before long. But overall, I've become kind of a non-reader. I'm just not reading right now, which is its own its own problem, so to speak, in terms of my own self-definition as a reader and all of the books that I have. But that's a totally different story. And I don't feel inclined to act on this non-reading. I'm going to wait and see if it's a phase. So yeah, the whole idea of getting back into tarot and oracle card reading and reading for others and being on here, having a channel, was to exercise my intuition. So this is how I'm seeing these. So I am starting with the Fool, and part of the reason I'm starting with the Fool, well, there's a variety, but there's a mask there. There's just sort of, I'm seeing it as kind of an inner drive, and there's the general association with the Fool of kind of being ready for anything, whether out of innocence or not. Not judging experience, being willing to go in, being willing to think of oneself as capable, and thus you go into things that other people would say, oh no, you can't do that, and the Fool is like, well, why not? That's part of my perception of the Fool anyway. Different decks, different story. I just did the Tarot of 1001 Nights, and that was a very different fool's story. Okay, so here we go. So again, has nothing that limits the perception of what this person can do, and so starts swinging out some manifestation. I can do this, I can do that. See, this is possible, that's possible. But in this particular version, and this is the Magician, in this particular version, it strikes me as very unfocused. It's all coming from the self and wheeling things out, but it's very unfocused, and it's also very self-focused there. So here we're moving on. This is the 8, balance, to focusing on a single thing. And so I'm seeing that as a positive development forward. And now, if you look at this has one arm out and a smaller circle. This has both arms out and is embracing the sun. So things are widening here. I see this as widening and becoming actually more powerful. But I'm going to say this, that on the journey, things start to maybe get you spread yourself a little too thin, maybe. But this is a positive card, the flowing with the change, so it's almost like this embracing of something big and starting to go with the flow. All right, you're in a flow, but you're losing your identity, so, which is not all bad. It's a process, right? So we're going to swing around. So you can see this person's face has a clearly defined face. And at this point, they hardly have clearly defined bodies, So kind of losing the self. And this is, again, kind of losing the self in the process, transforming the self in the process, and feeling disoriented. This says separation from the source, but I'm going to say feeling disoriented, because this is on the verge of becoming completely ungrounded. At least you still have a familiar bird, figure there. Here you're still cycling, it's almost like, is it Plato, Socrates, the notion of the chariot, as needing to have time on earth and time in the higher realms kind of thing. You're getting that. But here you're transforming, and that creates some disorientation. This person is no longer grounded. This is like spacey. You become spacey. And, this feeling of demons, you can interpret that however you want. But separation from the source. So since this person appears to be ungrounded and spacey, I would say that the source is actually the earth here. Again, my own interpretation. Then we get back to Kali. And what was Kali? Excuse me. She was the fighter of demons. There was some bad bogey out in the in the universe, and it was only the fury of Kali that got carried away and started destroying other things also, so that another deity had to come in and stop her. But she was the bad mama that could kill the demon that people thought could not be killed. But again, when she went berserk, when she went over to that other side, she went overboard, so shattering the structure. So and here she is in space and in earth, and that's why I'm putting her here, is it's kind of forcing back down in touch. I see this as like the core of the earth. And so coming, kind of learning to manage this. We create structures, we destroy structures, you know, what serves us, what doesn't. But certainly here with her kind of birthing and consuming, she's kind of birthing and consuming people. You know, I think that this is kind of like a thought of, all right, so we have the power to kind of lose ourselves, to create and to get in touch with spiritual transformation, but we do have the power to lose ourselves. So in shattering the structure, what kind of new structure do we have to create? What is a positive, nurturing, flexible structure? So I wasn't sure where to put the death card, and now that I'm here at the death card, I feel like this is the wrong place. So I'm going to put it aside. It might be the last card. I'm not sure. Because I like this, I mean, even just the color scheme, I like this a lot better. And this strikes me as that flexible boundary. Okay, kind of centered here, cosmically grounded on the earth. So this strikes me as the next card after the Kali. This is, I would say, even more grounded, but she has a lamp. It's like inside of her. You know, so it's kind of like having come to the point where this person who's embracing the sun, instead of losing herself, trying to embrace the sun, embrace the universe or whatever, this person has embodied the sun, has brought the sun on the interior and stayed grounded on Mother Earth. And these two cards, too, I had some difficulty placing. But I do feel like they belong here. So I feel like this is being centered and grounded, having that inner flame, okay? Pretty much feeling, not having to dissolve yourself in order to feel spiritually connected. You just do. You feel on your interior that you are spiritually connected. To interacting with others, in this case, the natural world, and sharing your love and spirit, and seeing yourself reflected in kind of the nesting and nurturing aspect. This is a very friendly moon. This guardian, though, I think I'm going to remove this. This might come after death. Like, I could see this as death transforming into spirit, and this is your guide through that process. I can see that forming. Okay. So we're going from here, kind of turning one's attention to what's around us. So all of this up to this point has kind of been self-centered. And here we start to be other-centered. And again, first with animals, trees, our environment. Next with people, with this compassion card. And I really do, this is partly my personality, but I think a lot of people do find it easier to connect with animals, in part because they seem at least simpler to us. Human beings are very complex, and that's not always a compliment. So, yeah. And so I think it can be harder to sympathize with us, with one another. All right, so there's that, sympathizing with somebody, but keeping them sort of at a distance. And then working in conjunction with someone, with just one other person, kind of fully coming together. And even more, now you have also spiritual stuff going on here. So developing more of a community. Here so this could be kind of a path of two people together once you come together. And here together you're exploring just general spirituality, spiritual health with the chakras represented here, or energy health. And with the fire here, could just be the exploration of energies. And now we're getting into what I see as ancestor, because of the nature of the higher person here. Yeah, ancestor energies, connecting with ancestor energies. And this could just be, if it's an individual, understanding how we've been affected by our lineage. And it can be very practical stuff also, like nobody in my family has ever gone to college, and so how do I break that mold? How do I go to college? How do I envision myself that way? And it can be positive, of course. But there's that. And I see most of this as friendly energy. And now we're getting, I don't know, into more sexual energy. Yeah, it really is as we go forward here. Or the way two people in their interactions create the world. It's going to be shown here as physical creation, but it can also be the notion that, you're putting positive vibes out into the world. So here we're starting again with on Earth, but you see there's two here as well as two here. So it is a physical and spiritual connection on Earth. And I see this as well, it's in the sacral chakra, and so I see this as kind of a representation, which appears to be, I don't know, yeah, that looks like a breast to me. So it appears to be two women, but creating, or maybe it's just a matter of honoring their creative power here. But I see this going from this to a sexual union to the implanting. We're going to make something here. We're going to make something together. So, pregnancy. So we go from this stirring of the acknowledging and stirring of the sacral chakra energy to pregnancy. And then from there, and there's a spirit in the background, so and this is, the Empress card. So this is a bigger picture of how we impact and create in the world, right? And then there's a more universal. There are spirits, people in bird forms, and all kinds of stuff here. So this is yet another way that and there is the little egg with the little person in it, and dolphins, and is that a crab, or I don't know. Anyway, so just being a part of the creative process of the cosmos is what I see this. This is still on Earth, but part of the cosmos as well. And so oddly, at this point, well, maybe I should do this. Because then I had the chariot, and this is such a cosmic chariot, and I'm like, where am I going to put that? So I was going to put it here. But now I can see that it could go in this set. All right. So this is people in that 21, you're in your power. Cosmic creation, using your spirit to affect the universe, hopefully in positive ways, being able to be part of this larger universal energy without losing your own identity or sense of self or groundedness here on earth, but being very comfortable with connecting with everything. So beautiful card. Okay, but then there is death. There is. And I'm thinking of this as a literal death and a representation of that. So we have power, and we have a different sort of being out of control. You know, we went out of control in that middle phase and kind of learned how to deal with it, with that Kali energy. You know, we've learned when we're letting ourselves go too much and we're losing a sense of groundedness. But there does come a time when we are finished with this earth. And so all of this kind of prepares us for this transformation of being grateful and happy for the physical body and moving beyond it. And so I feel like this is part of this. So maybe this is actually the Chariot is kind of like, in this deck, is kind of like gosh, now I can't remember who is the person who mans the ferry that crosses the river Styx into, is it Lethe? No, that's the river's name is Lethe, I think. And now I can't remember the boatman's name. I'm wanting to say Chiron, but that, no, that doesn't work. I'm just thinking that maybe it's something similar to that. You know, I'm just thinking Chiron because I hear it all the time with the astrology readings, and of course, yeah. So that disturbs me. But you know, when is the last time I've thought of that? Eons ago. So why do I think I should remember it? The boatman on the ferry that crosses the river Styx, and again, so I'm totally confused on that myth. Except that there is a river and there is a boatman. There is a boat that crosses the river into the underworld. So there we go. So this is, you come up here, and I feel like this is, once you're in that space, this is the transfer. You know how they talk about people who've had near-death experiences, or perhaps death experiences, and were brought back, and they have this notion of going through a tunnel of light or something. So this would be like that. And then this can be a guide on the other side, but this could be us on the other side, perhaps even returning as a guide. So, you know, the how would you say that, the transfer of whatever it is we are when we're not who we are. And then sort of, I would say, a different sort of embodiment, or the potential of energy to look back, to come back, and be a beneficial influence, a help, a support, a guide for people still on this planet. All right. So that was 24 minutes. So there's no way I'm going into anything else right now. But I liked doing that. I'm going to leave this like this, and I might even journal on it. uh, just so that I have my own kind of association with the path through these cards and what these cards in this deck strike me as meaning or revealing. And then I'll do a separate video that deals with the less intense paths within the suits. All right, everybody. See you soon. Bye-bye.